Hey everyone, this is Jesse coming at you in celebration of the upcoming Halloween holiday. Now, at this point of the year, I had hoped to have been releasing the TF Wire podcast a little bit more than what I have been. Again, school has got in the way. This is my second to last semester of trying to finish my master's degree. So it's I'm kind of putting school first, which hopefully you understand that, but so that's why I haven't been releasing the TF Wire episodes as frequently as what I had hoped to be doing at this point in the year. Now, with that said, in the past, when we were doing TF Wire weekly, for Halloween, we typically did some sort of special episode, or I would overlay various sound effects and have like a really different sort of intro. The reason for that is because I've loved the Halloween ever since I was a kid, so I just wanted to throw in a little something extra and special there. Now, since I am not recording TF Wire, like I said, as much as I had wanted to at this point in the year, I'm not going to record a TF Wire Halloween episode. Instead, what I wanted to do was share a couple of quote-unquote paranormal / unexplained stories of my own with you guys, and then I wanted some of your feedback here in the comments below, just on some things that you experienced that you couldn't explain. Maybe you have some sort of a ghost story or something like that. Ever since I was a kid, I'm not really a big fan of horror movies, because horror movies to me, they just seem rather cheesy. But I'm more of a fan of like the ghost / possession type of movie. And I'm a big fan of Ghost Adventures on the Travel Channel. Now, whether that stuff is real or not, I don't know, but it definitely piques my interest. I enjoy watching the TV show. And whether I believe in ghosts or not, I don't know that either. Is there something after we die? No idea. I'm still undetermined in my mind on that. So just want to preface everything I'm going to say by laying that all out there up front. All right. So last night I went and saw Paranormal Activity 3. Yes, I'm one of those people who actually goes to the theater to see Paranormal Activity. And if you have only seen 1 and 2 at this point, you haven't seen Part 3. Part 3 is definitely on par with 1 and 2. Going into it, I thought that it was a prequel sequel, meaning that the time period in the movie was going to shift, that we were going to see like the events leading up to 1 and 2, and then at some point in the movie it was going to shift, and then we were going to see the events that happened after Part 2. It turns out it's really just a prequel to the series, and it's the events leading up to the first and the second movie. So I'm not going to spoil the film, but if you were expecting it to be a prequel sequel like I was, that's essentially what it is. It's just essentially nothing more than a prequel. So keep that in mind. Now it is set in 1988, so there are some fun 80s references in there. Back to the Future is one of them. Using the awesome cordless phone with the extendable antenna. That's another fun one. So like I said, I'm not going to spoil the movie. Don't want to talk about the movie much. But it is on par with 1 and 2. So if you liked 1 and 2, definitely check it out. But I don't know if there's going to be a Paranormal Activity 4 at this point. But they definitely have a ton of unanswered questions left. So my guess is there's probably going to be. I know the film cost $5 million to make. As of Friday, it's raked in $8 million. Or excuse me, that was on the midnight showing on Thursday into Friday. It raked in $8 million in that time period. They're speculating that it's going to hit $45 million this weekend, so there's probably going to be a fourth one, is my guess. All right, so anyways, back on to my quote-unquote ghost / paranormal stories here. I actually have 2 of them. One took place when I was younger. I think it was either in middle school, or maybe it was my freshman year in high school. And the house that we lived at, my parents built from the ground up, so it was a completely new house when we moved into it. So it wasn't like, there could have been any sort of possible ghost there or anything. from like an old house or something. It was a brand new house. So I was upstairs. I was on my bed. I think I was doing my homework in my bedroom. The door was closed, and something startled me, and I like jumped up off my bed, and come to find out it was the doorknob on my door, on my bedroom door, and someone was grabbing a hold of it, and they were turning it like left and right real quickly. So I rushed over to the door. I grabbed a hold of the doorknob, turned it, flung it open, expecting to see my brother there, just fucking with me. And come to find out, there wasn't anybody there. Now, right across the hall from my bedroom was my brother's bedroom, and then in between us, there was the bathroom. And I decided to check the bathroom because, it's dark in there, the lights were off, and I thought maybe my brother was just hiding in there. I looked in there. Nope, he wasn't in there. I knew he didn't have enough time to go inside of his bedroom and shut the door without both me seeing it, and as well as hearing it. And but I decided to check his bedroom anyways. So I opened the door. Definitely wasn't in there. I went downstairs and I found him watching TV with my parents. And I don't know what it was, but there was definitely something that grabbed a hold of my doorknob and was turning it back and forth. It only happened that one time. It never happened before that. It never happened. It hasn't happened since. So I don't know what that was, but that was definitely some unexplained activity that happened with me. The second event happened, let's see, what was this? Like 3 to 4 months ago, I believe. And I live in a duplex, and it's not like a top and bottom duplex. It's actually like a side-by-side duplex. So I share one wall in common with my neighbor. And as part of the lease, we're not allowed to have any sort of pets or animals here. So I don't have any pets. The woman that lives right next door to me here in the duplex, she doesn't have any pets. The only pet that's actually nearby is a little dog that's just to my east, and it's actually an inside dog. So the dog doesn't come outside unless the kids are outside playing or the parents are outside with the dog. So for the most part, it's actually inside the house. And this event occurred, I think it was like between 1:30 in the morning. Something startled me, and I woke up, and I just sat up, and it was all quiet. And then I heard like this really low, like growl slash, like a baby crying, sort of mixed with like a, not a cat meow, but like when you startle a cat, or you hear a cat that's been hurt, and it's like that, the cat screech or whatever you want to say. It was sort of all of that mixed in together, and then it was like slow and drawn out. So it was more like, so something like that. I only heard it that one single time. I got up, I looked around my house. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear it. Like I said, I didn't hear it again. So I said, fuck it. And I just rolled over and went back to sleep. But the only three things in my house that typically make any sort of noise are my furnace. And like I said, if it was 3 to 4 months ago, it was definitely warm here at that point, so I didn't have my furnace on. And my air conditioner, which I typically turn up my thermostat at night just so that the air conditioner doesn't run at night as much. And then my water heater. And my water heater typically doesn't run in the middle of the night simply because I'm not using any hot water. So with those three things ruled out, I have absolutely no idea what was causing this sound. Like I said, I haven't heard it since, and I don't know what it was, but it was definitely freaky. Now, I do live in an area that used to be part of an Indian reserve. I don't think I'm actually on the Indian reserve right now. I think that's actually more to the east of me. But I I don't know. I have absolutely no idea what made that sound. But I should also mention that right down the road from me is a school which is quote unquote supposedly haunted. At least I've heard that from a number of different people here in town. And this school was for the mentally handicapped, and it was specifically for children. It was a state-run school, and just I've never been there myself, but judging from what it looks like from the outside, there's a bunch of different buildings around the property, and then there's what looks like a regular like single-level elementary school on the property. I'm not positive on this, but I'm almost certain this is the case. It seems to be set up like a college campus, and that the buildings around the property are actually like dorm rooms, because I believe the handicapped students that went to school there actually live there. And just on the northeast portion of that property, there's also an old brick and mortar insane asylum, which to me is just freaky. I've gone by it a number of times, and it just creeps you the fuck out. Now, why they put this school on the same property as this old insane asylum, I have absolutely no idea. But that's where they're at. I've heard a couple of stories that one person that was in the insane asylum back when this was being used by the state actually, I don't want to say broke out, because there's no fencing around the insane asylum, but they actually left that property, and then just on the southeast corner of the property, there's like two little houses right there. And the story goes, at least from what I've heard from a couple of different people, is that one of the nurses that actually worked in the insane asylum lived in one of those houses right there. And one of the, I don't know if you want to call them inmates of the insane asylum or what you want to call them, actually got out, and he ended up killing the nurse that lived here in that house. Now, I've done internet searches, and I can't find any sort of information to back that up. But I have heard that from people here in town. And maybe they're just spreading local lore. I don't know. But I have read that story on a couple of different ghost websites that are out there. So true or not, I don't know. I was actually thinking about hitting up the local library and digging into that just to see if it was true or not. So, but I haven't done that yet. And at this point, it's just a story. But what I have heard from a couple of other people are two different things here. One, if you go by the insane asylum at night, sometimes if you look up in the top floor, you'll see lights inside there. And I have absolutely no idea why there'd be lights in there for a couple of reasons. One, the place is shut down, and no one's allowed in there. And two, there's no electricity to the place. So if there's lights in there, I don't know where they're coming from. Because like I said, yeah, no electricity, so it's bizarre. Now, I haven't actually seen them myself. It's just hearsay at this point, or stories, or whatever you want to say. But that's another local story here. And then the second one was in front of the school, which is on the same road that I live on. In the front there, if you go by at night, sometimes you will see this girl who has a dog. And I've heard that from a couple different people, and I've even actually read this online, again, on some of the different ghost or haunting websites out there. True or not, I have absolutely no idea. Like I said, I've never seen anyone. What I do know is that the property, which is still owned by the state, the gates are completely blocked off. They've got wire strung between all the entryways and exits. And they've actually hired security to monitor the property. So if you drive by at night, you'll typically see, and this is primarily on the weekends, though it's scattered throughout the week as well, but you'll see various cars planted on the property where they've got big signs. I believe they're like magnetic signs plastered on the side of their cars and vehicles that say security, and they're just preventing people from going in there. So I'm not quite sure what is going on there. If they're actually doing anything there. Like, you never see any cars come and go, but you do see the security sitting there. So what they're doing or what they're protecting or guarding against, I have absolutely no idea. But that's just some of the local folklore or ghost stories here. from my area. So if you have anything paranormal or unexplained that's happened to you, like I said, I'm curious to read about it. I'm sort of interested in that stuff. Whether it's real or not, I have absolutely no idea. But like I said, it does capture my attention, and I'm interested in reading stuff like that. So if anything's happened to you, go ahead and post in the comments here. I'm interested in reading that. If you have any local ghost stories from your area, please post where you're from, and what that particular story is. Because like I said, I'm a big fan of ghost adventures. Like I said, whether true or not, I don't know. But the show piques my interest and I enjoy watching it. So if there's any like haunted things in your or haunted buildings in your area or anything, just go ahead and let me know in the comments, and we'll definitely enjoy reading it. So, all right, so that's my little video here for the Halloween holiday, since there's not going to be a TF Wire Halloween episode. But I did want to throw something out there specifically for Halloween and get your feedback on it. So, and again, Paranormal Activity 3, if you've seen 1 and 2, 3's on par with the rest of them, so definitely check it out. Though if you like some of the scenes that you saw in the trailers, they're more than likely not going to be in there, because all those scenes, at least from trailer number 4 for Paranormal Activity 3, none of those scenes that were in that trailer were actually in this movie. So I don't know if those were extra scenes that they filmed specifically for the trailers, if they were scenes that they just cut out for the film. I don't know. But there was definitely a lot of scenes missing that were in the trailers. So, all right. So until next time, this is Jesse signing off.
I'm not your enemy. I'm not your enemy.